Coming to you from Rockingham, IPL Radio.
Very elaborate. We're here to talk great escapes, and one of the greatest escapes, I'd like to introduce Kevin from Palm Beach Rotary, and Nicole, are we flying you under the Street Hustle banner today?
Yeah, I think we are.
We're always flying under the Street Hustle banner. I talk a lot about Street Hustle, but it's only because I love them so much. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. We're talking about an event that's happening in Rockingham in April, I believe, around Easter time. Do you want to tell us about the Catalpa for those who don't know?
Oh, I'll be happy to. Thanks for having us on, Jess. Catalpa is an Australian historical event, I guess. It happened in colonial times when the British controlled Australia. Before, in 1876, the escape took place out of Fremantle Jail. So a very elaborate planning on behalf of the political prisoners in the jail, and also by the Catalpa Committee in America, who were basically Fenian political group. And there was a failed revolution in the early 1860s, and a lot of the Irish who were involved in that either escaped to America or got arrested and sent to Australia for the term of their natural life. And these guys were actually in the British Army, and they were recruited over a number of years to be part of the revolutionary group to get their country back. And then, of course, the British had spies. They got caught, and because they were in the army, they had committed treason, and they were basically sentenced to death originally, and that was commuted to life, and they were transported to Fremantle on the very last convict ship.
So Fremantle Prison. So how did they get from Fremantle Prison to Rockingham?
Well, yeah, if I can, they organised an escape. This guy, the guy from America who they'd recruited, came out and pretended to be a very rich American wanting to invest in Western Australia in the early days of the colony. He fooled them completely. He was invited to all the hoi polloi parties, and he was basically, he flashed his money around, and all the time he was in cahoots with the CEO or the captain of the Catalpa, trying to organise a time and date for a successful escape. Eventually, they got the horses and traps, and they got a message to the prisoners, who all managed to get out of jail on the Easter Monday to do jobs around the place where they weren't supervised. At a signal from the two guys with the horses and traps, they met on the Rockingham Beach Road, just out of Fremantle, got in the horses and traps, and on the way down they cut the telegraph line so they couldn't communicate to Rockingham.
Communicate, yeah.
The whaling ship Catalpa had sent in a whaleboat under the command of Captain Anthony. Now, Anthony wasn't Irish, he was a Quaker, but he was all for freedom and the fact that he didn't think that the Irish had been treated particularly well by the Brits. And so they rowed in, they waited on the beach, the horses and traps went all haste, as fast as they could, basically from Fremantle down to the beach. They got caught on the beach by some guy who then went back and reported to the police that were in Rockingham. So they rowed off. They were pursued by police boats trying to catch up with them. They rowed out beyond Garden Island into international waters, and they were then pursued by a boat called the Georgette, which was a ferry. So they put cannon on the Georgette, and they also put up 50 British troops on there, and they were stationed in Fremantle. And they sailed out after the Catalpa. Day one, they didn't find them. They were close but didn't find them. Then they had to go back and refuel because they'd run out of coal. They came back out and they caught up to them. They fired a shot across the bows, but Catalpa had managed to get into international waters, and they raised the American flag, and they said, "You can't fire on us, it'll start World War with the Brits." So the British thought better of it, and they made their escape and went back. It took them 4 months to get back to the US.
To the US.
To the US. It's the most successful escape in Australian colonial history.
And
how many people was it?
It was 6 out of 6 people out of Fremantle Jail.
Okay, cool.
And they were all political prisoners. They were all ex-members of the military, and they were all, because they had committed treason, that was a life sentence.
And they were the last remaining 6.
The last remaining 6,
Irish prisoners. The rest had all been released and pardoned into the West Australian
Community,
outback, I think.
yeah.
Community, yes.
Yeah.
To help. So
ticket of leave men, they used to
so
call.
these guys were treated particularly unfairly that they didn't get that pardon when sort of everyone else had. And one of the guys that was released earlier wrote a letter stating the conditions that these 6 Fenians were living in the prison. And so that was basically the call to action in America some 4 years beforehand. So it would have been 1872 that they decided to get those last 6 remaining prisoners out of the prison.
And I think when you hear you telling the story, I'm seeing in my brain like an American blockbuster, and everything happens so speedily. But you said earlier that the chase that you speak of took 2 days. It wasn't like they zoomed out after them. They had to go back and get coal. I'm assuming getting the cannon onto the ferry was a task in itself. So it was actually like not a chase that we'd expect to see. It was
still a blockbuster movie, I feel.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah,
I'm surprised
absolutely.
it's not.
Yes.
But if you think about the planning back in those days, 1876, there's no quick text message, right? We're ready to go, boys. Send the ship.
Yeah.
It's
It's involved.
Or call to the police. So the guy that saw them down on the beach obviously had to physically go back to the police station to report these guys, which allowed them some time. And I heard that the weather wasn't that great when they were rowing out to the Catalpa.
That's
Correct,
true,
I've
yeah.
heard that, yeah.
They were nearly swamped on a number of occasions, mainly because they
It
were
was one of the worst storms.
overcrowded.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's not designed for that many people. That's
Yeah.
6 prisoners and then the people who have to row.
yeah.
Yeah, they weren't sure they were actually going to make it to the Catalpa because then it became dark, I believe, and
Yeah.
they got a bit
They were out there
disorientated.
overnight as well. So,
Yeah.
They weren't. Yeah, it was a bit hard to
That's it.
navigate to get there. But they did.
Absolutely
Made it.
amazing adventure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we're celebrating this, and we already do celebrate it. We actually have what is called the wild geese for a memorial actually on the Rockingham foreshore there. So a lot of people would be looking at this memorial and not know the story of the Catalpa. So this is a real re-education, isn't it, for the younger generation to come to an event like this and talk about this great escape.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And the wild geese name came from the newspaper they wrote on the convict ship as they were coming out over the 4 months it took to get from England to Fremantle.
I did wonder that
They
where
wrote
the
their own
wild.
newspaper every week, and it went out around the ship. These guys were educated. They weren't, felons. They were political prisoners. They were lawyers, doctors, poets, writers, those sort of people. They were very smart, very educated people.
Hence why they had people advocating for them in the prisons.
Yeah,
Yep.
to an extent.
Yeah.
But they didn't want them out.
No.
I kind of feel like given all the effort it went to get the escape, I would just let them go. I'd be like, fair call,
Yeah.
you've done really well, off you go guys, well done you.
No.
No.
We gave chase.
We're talking about the British colonialists.
Yeah.
They weren't known for their mercy.
No. So this is obviously happening in April around the time that it actually occurred.
Correct, yeah. We've earmarked Easter Monday. It's going to be an annual event. So this year is the first event, and it will fall on Monday the 10th of
Yeah,
April.
Easter Monday the 10th.
Easter Monday, so it's the 10th of April, of course, so that date's going to change every year as Easter does. But the date for the Catalpa Adventure Festival will always be on Easter Monday. It will be at Churchill Park from 12 until 6 this year. And, the aim is really just to highlight this amazing story and the adventure.
Before we get into what's actually occurring there, can I ask, how did Palm Beach Rotary, and you were saying that Tourism Rockingham have really been the driving factors into getting this up and running, and I want to know how that all occurred.
Initially, we applied for a grant through the City of Rockingham. They gave us a grant to do the big project, which initially was going to be a film production. We had
The blockbuster we were talking
the
about.
blockbusters,
So,
the Lewin out on the beachfront, whaling boats and a chase ship. That all been organised. We couldn't get the funding to do it. It was going to be a big part of our budget. So we came back with the suggestion from the city that we do the 4 projects and build it over a number of years. So do this one, and one next year, one the year after, and then the 150th year is going to be the big one. That'll be in 2026.
yeah.
And I think if Palm Beach got involved right from the very beginning. Some of your members were.
Yeah, well, was originally an idea of two of our former Lord Mayors, Laurie Smith and Chris
Legend
Elliott.
Laurie, as you said before.
Legend Laurie and Chris Elliott. And Laurie gets an idea, and it's hard to dissuade him that it's not a good one.
He's a very passionate man, isn't he?
He is. He's a great man. So we needed to fund it, but because the Rotary Club has the Beach Cup and another festival, we basically had, a
lot on your plate.
A lot on our plate. So we spoke to Tourism Rockingham. They were looking for a project, and so they've taken it on as the body that's in charge and running the budget and all that sort of stuff. There's a few Rotary volunteers on the committee. We've got volunteers who aren't on the committee, aren't Rotarians. We've got Street Hassle, of course, the magnificent guys from that outfit. They've taken over. Well, they're amazing. We've had other organisers for our events, and I have to say that Street Hassle are the best we've had.
Yeah, so. And I think it's because they're so involved with the community here. They actually look at really involving small business, community groups, and that's what we really need, and that's why I love them as well.
Absolutely. Keep local, I reckon. Keep local.
On the committee, we've also got Jill Wright. She's been very passionate about promoting the.
Jill's been in from the start with Laurie.
Absolutely, from the very beginning, and
talking to the Irish groups and all that.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the celebration of it is a bit of Irish history and culture. So what can we expect? How are we going to be entertained at this beautiful event?
Yeah, so we've got a stage program lined up which has got a range of Irish dancing and Irish performers. We've got the Jarrah Celts coming down from Perth, from up in the hills of Perth. We've got also the Healy's finishing up the sets with some good Irish upbeat dancing sort of Irish tunes, and local Fiona Ray.
Yeah.
And her dad Fred is a long-standing local community member who I'm hoping to persuade to come onto stage with his daughter and sing some songs as well. We're going to have sprinkled throughout, shall I say, the stage program, little 5 to 10 minutes of poetry and stories, perhaps a little maybe skit of not to give too much away, Jess, of Catalpa. What should I say? Information, education?
Yeah, education. Sort of like a little play, if you like.
A little play type thing, yeah.
And,
I feel like education's a really strong word, but it's going to be fun. Like, it is actually going to be, and learning about this event is going to be, I love that as Australians we celebrate the naughty.
Yes.
I really love that this is this not something that we should all be doing, escaping prison, but we do get to celebrate the naughtiness of it, and I adore that.
That's quite a good point too, because when we were thinking about the name of the event, it could be the Catalpa Rescue. So yes, they were rescued, or the Catalpa Escape, because yes, they did escape, but you're not really supposed to escape from prison.
No.
So when we landed on the Catalpa Adventure Festival, we thought that really encapsulated
it's it beautifully.
The spirit of the story and of the event, which is going to be all about fun and that we get to grow each year. We've got some fantastic, what will we call those big display posters, I guess. We're going to create an interactive display which people can read at their own leisure throughout the event time, which was actually part of a travelling display of the Catalpa story from 2006 to 2008 that was put on by, I think it's the West Australian Museum, or perhaps the Australian Museum that toured. And so we've been fortunate to have landed in our laps, and we're going to make good use of these resources to tell the whole story with some actors using our local drama club to build the scene in costumes and
because I know you didn't like to use the word education, but when we're talking about our young people coming to an event like this, when they see the live kind of play, that's really when they do all of they engage in that learning. When they're going to read something, it may not sink in, but when they really physically see what some of this story, they're going to retain that information and probably come back for more the next year and the next year after that.
Yeah, quite right. I do believe that the story of the Catalpa is sprinkled throughout the school curriculum. In HAS topics, they do touch on it in some areas. So some of the local kids might have heard the story, of course, seen the Geeseman Memorial as well, and wondered maybe what that is. And I think for us, it's really important to keep that story alive through the generations. And so people that are here in the city of Rockingham are proud to be a part of the place where this amazing story took place, and can really celebrate it.
And talking of the Wild Goose Memorial, there will be a memorial service or a celebration, if you like, by the Irish Australian Heritage Association. I think that's on at 11.
That's correct,
before our event kicks off at 12.
Oh, it sounds amazing.
Hopefully those people will come over to the festival and join us as well. Some of them are.
Yeah, we're definitely going to draw like a large amount of people from outside of Rockingham, I would imagine, to this event to celebrate this adventure, but also be a part of, you know, the Irish cultural stuff that you've got going on.
Correct, yeah. Well, the Irish population is the fourth largest population here in the city of Rockingham.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And, I write some grants, so
And
this sort of stuff I look into.
Yeah,
And what
good
else
information to have.
Yes.
And what else really happens on Easter Monday?
Yeah.
Everyone's,
Eating
you know,
chocolate
It
still?
lots, well, my
Yes.
kids will have finished their chocolate by then.
come to Rockingham.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all happening down here.
Yeah, what a great weekend to hold it is, because, you know, Easter Monday, people have free time, so they come and experience this. Tell us, when is it? Easter Monday, times?
12 till 6.
12 till 6, and it's free.
And it's free.
Correct.
If they want more information about it, how do we go about getting it? Is it on Facebook? Is it on the internet? Where do they source it? Tourism Rockingham?
Yeah.
Tourism Rockingham, and also Tourism Rockingham's Facebook site.
Yes,
Yep.
and they're launching our event page today, so it was this
Oh,
morning.
perfect.
Oh, we could have timed that. She could be pressing the go button now. It might already be up, or it will be up.
We'll
and
say
live.
3, 2, 1,
Wow.
it's on.
Yeah, it's on.
Yep, so we'll be there for the event. There's going to be food trucks and market stalls, so we're putting a shout out to anyone, particularly those with an Irish theme or Irish products, who would like to come and join us in our festival, to get in touch with Street Hassle or Tourism
I
Rockingham.
have one very important question. When we talk about the Irish, we do talk about their love of a Kilkenny or a Guinness.
Yeah, Guinness in my family.
Yes, well, it would be un-Irish, I think, to not have a bar.
Yes.
So, yes, we are having a bar at this event. It's going to be a licensed bar over on the lookout is the plan.
The tentative
fantastic.
name is the John Boyle O'Reilly Bar, but we haven't decided yet.
No.
Yes.
No.
There's still decisions to be made.
Yes.
John Boyle O'Reilly escaped before these guys. He was in prison with them. And
Okay.
He was put on a work crew at Bunbury. He managed to hide himself away on a whaler and made it back to America 4 years before these guys were rescued.
Yeah.
And was he one of the advocates to get the other guys out?
Yeah, he was involved in that. He lived in the same town as Captain Anthony, the Quaker guy who decided he would come and rescue on all these guys on the whaler.
Okay.
So was
he
there,
was recruited specifically for that job.
Okay.
I know that their escape was successful, but was their life successful after their escape?
Well, I did read an article not long ago where they were fairly affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'd call it PTSD these days.
Yeah, yeah.
They did have fairly long lives afterwards, and they were honoured in the American society, especially by the Fenian groups over there, because the Irish had been sent to America for years, firstly as slaves under the British, and then as they escaped, I guess, once the American War of Independence was over, and they had failed revolutions trying to get their country back. So their escape was to America or be locked up, so a lot of them immigrated.
Cool.
Easter Monday.
I'm excited. I'm nervous to take my children. It's going to be a bad example to one of them in particular, but, you know, what are you going to do?
Learn about the adventure. I love events like these because it's not just events where you go and you don't learn something. You're actually involved with a community that I wasn't aware of. I didn't know that the fourth largest, community group here was actually the Irish. So I'm going to be a part of it. I'm going to be down there. I'm going to absolutely love it. But there are other events that I did want to talk about which are coming up that Palm Beach Rotary are a part of. Can you tell me a little bit about the Beachside Festival that's coming up?
I can, because I'm involved in that as well. It's the 7th
7th now, is it?
Rotary Beachside Festival.
Yep.
Funded mainly by a grant from the City of Rockingham, and we have other sponsors as well. We have 4 running events, a 2.5, a 5, a 10 and a 21 that go along the beachfront up to Port Kennedy.
And it is a beautiful beachfront.
Beautiful beachfront. Good time of the year there because the wind drops off.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And we have lots of things for kids to do, climbing walls. What else? We've got a high ropes course, bouncy castles. We've got all the fun of the fair basically. We've got market stalls, food trucks, live entertainment on stage, and of course the runs which start fairly early. 6:15 is the kick-off, and we finish around 2.
Do we know who last year's winner was?
Not off the top of my head.
No. Well, there would have been 4, wouldn't they? And they did.
There was no one last year. It was 21.
Okay.
COVID year 21.
We'll have to remember that. But are there different categories within the different runs? So, for example, if junior runners are wanting to be a part of it and enter the 5K.
Yeah, the 2.5 is designed for kids.
Yep.
It's basically set at a price just to cover the medal. And the idea is
I love the fact that everyone's a winner because, trust me, if I did 5K, I'd want a medal.
You deserve a medal.
Yeah, exactly. The idea is that we have it at that race at 10, which is the last race on the run card, so that the parents who want to go out and do their run can come back and run with their kids.
Oh, nice.
So they can chaperone them if you like.
Yep.
They don't get a medal, but they don't get charged either. So
yeah.
They don't, they...
How do people register for this?
Register through the Rotary Festival website. So that's rotaryfestival.com.au, and just click on all the links. It's all the information is there. The prices are there. The times when the cut-off is there. Everything's on there.
Yep. And in terms of the festival, what time does that kick off?
The festival kicks off about 10. We'll have all the stall holders on site. We'll have the climbing wall up. The high ropes course will be up. The laser tag will be operating. We'll have the fire trucks there. We're also having a Rockingham Sea Rescue with their big boat. The kids can climb all over that. We're having free fruit and free water for all the competitors.
Yep.
So we do this every year.
Which beaches are that?
It's Bent Street.
Yes, I've been there.
Yeah, so if you know where Bent Street, where the Bent Chip is.
Yeah.
And
everyone knows where the Bent Chip is.
And the boat ramp.
Yeah.
So it's that park there. And it runs south from there. The runs go south from there out to Port Kennedy for the long run. But the other ones obviously are shorter, so the turnaround points are much closer to home.
Just say I've got a small business and I still want to, this is the first time I'm hearing about this event. Can I still be a part of it?
Absolutely. If you contact Street Hassle, they're doing all the stalls. If you want to sponsor, just get onto the website and send us a...
So there's still opportunities for businesses to be a part of the sponsorship side as well?
Yeah, we're looking for a sponsor for the 10K.
Yep.
And for as little as $700, you can sponsor that. You can sponsor the climbing wall. We can put your signage and your banners all over that. Lots of things we can do.
Yeah.
If you want to get involved, absolutely.
Another great community event. Obviously, Palm Beach Rotary are all about that. Is there anything else that you guys have got coming up that you'd like to plug?
Probably the Beach Cup again in November.
It's happening again, is it?
It's happening again. Yes, I was
talking
to our chairperson Donna last night at our meeting, and it's full steam ahead. Rob is back on board organising the horses.
That really is becoming such an iconic event, isn't it?
It's fantastic and well supported by the city.
Yeah.
But it also brings in a lot of money, tourism dollars.
Yeah.
For every dollar spent, brings in about $8.5, $9.
Which is great for business within Rockingham.
Yep.
But not only that, Rotary are huge supporters of a lot of charities as well.
Well, we're actually giving away money to... let's think of the name of the charities. Alzheimer's.
Yeah, Alzheimer's.
Research,
yep.
And the kids.
Variety
WA.
Yeah.
Brad will kill me for not remembering that.
Yeah.
And that's we have a guy on the committee, Brad Dean from BDR Accounting, who's been supporting it from day one.
Yep.
And he's also on the Variety. Very involved in Variety.
It's so good to hear that at large scale events, not only are they affecting the business community and boosting tourism within Rockingham and showcasing what a beautiful community that we have here, but we're actually supporting bigger causes you know, for, you know, the wider part of Australia, if not the world, and being a part of that as well. So that's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely,
Absolutely
Jess.
amazing.
And for well, particularly for the Catalpa adventure too, it's only through sponsorship of our small to medium businesses. I mean, we've got, luckily, thankfully, we've got Lottery West on board, and we've also got Fremantle Port, so we really appreciate their support. And we've got a range of other smaller sponsors that have also, Laurie's been
Put their
working
hand
hard
up,
at.
yep.
Yeah, so
The Rotary Club's putting in some money as
they
well.
are indeed, yeah, giving money back into the community. We've got Bendigo Bank, Madeline King's office. We've got a few local, passionate just locals. They don't have a business, or they used to, but they don't anymore, and are also supporting the festival by way of financial support to help it all tick along so we can put on the best event that we can.
Shout out to all of those organisations, because without them, things like this don't happen. And, you know, we will see once this adventure begins what an impact it has on the community, and how much joy it actually brings. And joy is one of my words for the year.
Joy, I like that word.
Yes, yeah.
Well, Tourism Rockingham have been really fantastic. Deb, who's on our committee, is just putting a lot of love into the project as well, wouldn't you say, Kev? And she's not Irish, but she's definitely
Irish at heart.
Irish at heart. Well, she's been to Dublin 5 times, so doesn't that count as being Irish?
Yeah.
And all these events are community partnerships as well. We, for the festival, the Run Festival, we have Secret Rocky Runners, which are a local run group, and they're helping us with the run part and getting that organised. And we have other sponsors, APS Engineering from Kwinana. There's a sponsorship there. They're sponsoring our 21K. So community groups and businesses are helping us there. We'd like more, of course, but times are hard. We understand that.
Yeah.
But
partnerships grow, don't they? Often,
grow, exactly,
it's something that they come on board maybe for the first year and find this was actually beneficial for my business, and then they continue to support. So, I can't wait to see this year's run, and obviously future ones, given the fact this is our 7th. Did you say?
The kids' run, I have to tell you, is started by the CEO of Stirling. That's a tradition that's been going from day one.
I see.
So he comes over and starts the run, and the kids are off. It's good to see support from Navy as well, because they've been coming to our event from day dot. Their engagement team comes with a display every year, and all the the rescue gear and all the stuff that they use in case of emergency on the ships and that sort of stuff.
And it sets you apart from other events, having things like that at your event, and it draws people there.
It draws people there. It's something for people to see. You've got to fill the park. Got to fill the park.
Well, tell me the date, time again for the Beachside
Festival, Sunday the 12th of March.
Oh, it's coming up.
It's coming up, not far away.
Not far away.
Hopefully the banners go out today on the street.
Yep. I want to thank you both very much. My chair is always open for both of you. I love what you're doing with that through the community, and I'm sitting here to make sure that the word is spread and we get as many people a part of it, if not involved in it, as we can. And thank you so much.
That's great, Jess.
Thanks, Jess. We really appreciate the support from IPL Radio.
Yeah, you'll always have support here, because that's what we're all about.
Absolutely.
We're going to play a little bit of music now. We're going to play a little bit of the Foo Fighters, I think. Here we go.